dear gods. Welcome to each and every beautiful soul, beautiful people who have come to attend the day 5 of the 21-day Beginners Meditation Challenge for young aspirants, my dear friends. What a wonderful journey it has been till now. We have been meditating. We have been learning so many things from so many beautiful people. We have learned about self-love. We have learned about Anapanasati meditation. We have learned about how to overcome our excuses, my dear friends. And also about sleep and meditation. We have many more to learn, much more to learn from various masters from around the world. So here we are, my dear friends. I welcome heartfully to all the people who have come to attend the day 5. So without any further delay, I would like to introduce you to our day 5 speaker. His name is Nikhil Gulapali, who's from Australia, my dear friends. And he is the managing director of Global Impact Partners and advises corporates and governments around the world on developing projects that not only generate profits, but also help solve the most pressing global issues from health to environment, which is my favorite subject as well. Thank you for doing that. And Nikhil has always believed that the pursuit of business and personal goals is not mutually exclusive. Having been introduced to meditation around the age of 8, Nikhil believes this played a critical role in his early development, laid the foundations for his academic and professional success, and helped him live a balanced and purposeful life, and is passionate about empowering individuals, business, and communities to reach their full potential and live with purpose. And for this purpose, Nikhil conducts mindfulness and self-empowerment workshops globally for business, for community, and the students as well, my dear friends. So that is a brief introduction about Nikhil Gulapali from Australia, and he is going to talk about how to become more efficient, how to give the best performance with the help of meditation, my dear friends. So, my dear friends, let us welcome Nikhil Gulapali to take over the stage and introduce himself much better and take us through meditation and talk about efficiency and performance improvement. Thank you, Nikhil, for joining us today. And we are privileged to have you here with us. And please take over.
Thank you very much. Very kind introduction from you. And I'm very excited to be here with everybody who's here on the Zoom, as well as all the people watching in on YouTube. I think this 21-day session is a really great introduction for many people, regardless of their age, who might not have necessarily been exposed to meditation or mindfulness before, or maybe had dabbled in, but didn't have the commitment to see it through. But I think this session format, where we're getting the opportunity both to practice and also understand what it can actually do in our lives, definitely will hope catalyze and kickstart a lifelong meditation and mindfulness practice for many of us here. Just to give you a bit of a background on myself, prior to doing that, I think the topic today is something that is very close to my heart. How do we increase our efficiency, and how do we increase our performance? And how does meditation play a role within all of that? Why this is so passionate is primarily because when people think about meditation, when people think about mindfulness, I think we're at a point in civilization where people realize that there are health and well-being benefits. People realize there are spiritual and religious uses for meditation as well. But the aspect that has always intrigued me personally, and what really drew me to meditation, was neither of those aspects, but primarily, how do I make my life better? I consider myself to be quite a logical, practical person. And those who know me quite well know that I'm incredibly curious and passionate about self-development. I'm constantly reading, I'm constantly exposing myself to any piece of knowledge that can help me live my life personally or professionally better. And with all that knowledge that I've accumulated, still to this day, meditation has been the pinnacle of all the tools I've had at my disposal to help me succeed personally, professionally, to help me increase my efficiency and to help me increase my performance. And I think this is the aspect that's talked about the least, which is what contributes to the stigma around meditation and mindfulness as being a religious concept or something to do when you're in your later stages of life, when it's the exact opposite. And hopefully today, we're going to be able to uncover a little bit more about why that is and how do we actually use meditation in the practical real world that we all surround ourselves in and why we should do that. So to that extent, I'm actually going to flip today's session on its head. And this is often the way we run a lot of the corporate workshops that we do, which is let's just talk about what meditation can do for you. Let's talk about how it can make a difference in your life. And then with that understanding, we'll sit down for some meditation, mindfulness, where we can practice that and live that. So to start, a bit of a background on myself. My own journey with meditation started at a very young age. And as a result of that, I've been able to benefit from the practical realities of what meditation can do in unlocking your true potential. I go back all the way to my high school journey, where those who know me, I've never considered myself as a tremendously hard worker. I've always believed in studying smart. When I finished up high school, in fact, going right back to the start, when I started meditation about the age of 8, I started looking at little experiments that I could do in my life to help me increase my performance, increase my efficiency. At a very early age, I was obsessed with improving every faculty of myself, and I was very fortunate to hone my skills and get a scholarship at a very prestigious private school in Australia. I then completed my academic journey, finishing within the top 0.1% of the country, and also being offered numerous scholarships to colleges at that point too. While I was in college, I was pursuing a degree in finance, and I also then pursued a degree in law as well. At the same time, while I was doing this undergraduate commitments, by the age of 19, successfully started 2 businesses. With all this, one thing was on my mind. I'm trying to do as much as possible with my life, and I don't consider myself as coming up second place in any of these activities. So every one of these facets, I wanted to excel, not just partake in them, but make sure I was the best at whatever I did. Once I finished up college, I worked as an investment banker for a couple of years. As many people know, in similar roles, it's a very, very demanding role. After working in that, I had the opportunity and a lot of, I'd say, luck as well, that timing in the universe works in mysterious ways. But I was very fortunate to then start my own business again. And since then, for the last couple of years, I've been focused in working for Global Impact Partners, which, as Parinitha said before, is primarily focused on helping governments, corporates, and communities around the world become the best version of themselves and tackle the most pressing issues from healthcare to the environment to sustainability at large. I give you that background to help you understand the psyche and the type of person that I am. And going back to what I said earlier, that's really what's fascinating me with meditation. How do I continue to enhance the quality of my life? How do I continue to enhance the success I'm having professionally? And as well as the success I'm having personally to elongate this for the duration of my life. So today, we're going to talk about some very practical realities of meditation. What are the things you can do with meditation? And how does it actually make a difference? Because people talk about this in very esoteric terms. And I think that's the disconnect that contributes to people starting meditation maybe for a couple of weeks and not understanding what it's actually doing and then giving it up. So I've got a very short presentation we're just going to walk through. Parinitha, am I able to share my screen?
Yes, please, you can.
Perfect. Apologies, give me a moment while I pull this up. Is my screen displaying at the moment? Pranitha, could you just confirm that my screen's coming up?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So just before we get started, I just want to show you a group of people. Now, if we look at each of these people, most of them, in fact, if not all of them, were hopefully recognizable. We have people from all walks of life. We have well-known TV personalities. We have business personalities. We have sports stars. We have musicians. We have actors. And often, when we open up with these corporate presentations that we do in terms of how do we use mindfulness in the workplace, how do we use mindfulness in colleges, I'd like to start with this because it gets people thinking. And the question I always put forward to the group, which hopefully to the people here today will be a much easier question, is what do all these people have in common? It's a very, very diverse group of people. And at first, the only thing that seems common about them all is that they're famous. Or if we think a bit more broadly, the fact that they've all had success in some form or another. And it's that success that really is what's made them so well known. The one thing that they do all have in common is meditation. And it is quite a surprising fact for a lot of people to know this. But if we go back through some of these names, Cristiano Ronaldo, Tom Brady, Novak Djokovic, Ray Dalio, Steve Jobs, Larry Page, I could go on and on and on. And these are names that we hear all the time. We all look up to them like, oh, I would love to reach that person's success. I'd love to get to where they've got either personally or professionally. And it's still, for people who I know have actually followed their careers for a long time, it still surprises many people to understand that these people all meditate. And that should be the first sign that there must be something going on here that they know that's allowed them to achieve phenomenal success in their various pursuits. It's best summed up by one of my great idols, I'd say in many ways, Ray Dalio, one of the greatest hedge fund managers of the world. Has a beautiful book called Principles in his autobiography. I recommend it highly. But he attributes it here, as you can say, meditation, more than anything in my life, was the biggest ingredient for whatever success that I've had. And if that doesn't sum it up for one of the most financially and professionally and personally successful people, you're going to have a harder time finding a validation for meditation. So let's just talk today about what is really going on. So with meditation, there are really 4 things that contribute, in my mind, to having great success. Bit more background. How do I know this? I've lived it personally. I apply it. I continue to apply it every day. Secondly, education and performance coaching has been a very, very close part of my heart. I spent a lot of time working with tens of thousands, if not probably hundreds of thousands of people by now, helping them reach the best version of their life. And I also run an education business where we've helped thousands of students at a high school level applying for MBAs to unlock and compete with the best of the best in the world. And there've really been, as I said, 4 areas that you need to dive into if you want to understand what meditation can do. Those 4 really are: 1, understanding how it can help bring out the best version of yourself in all situations. 2, how it helps with your learning process. And we're all learning. Learning doesn't stop when we finish college. If you want to be good at whatever it is that you're doing, you're continuously learning. 3, how does it actually help with confidence? And why is confidence important to efficiency and success? And then finally, 4, how does it help with physical efficiency? So let's start with the first one. The first is, how do we actually bring out the best? And I'm sure a lot of people here can relate to this idea where we work hard, we study hard, might be at a job, I put in a lot of hours, and yet I find myself not succeeding. So what does that look like when I say I find myself not succeeding, not finding the performance I would like to find? Well, in an academic context, it could mean that you're spending hours and hours sacrificing everything in your life only to get to an exam and not get the result that you want. In professional context, it could mean that you're preparing for weeks, hours late into the night for a client presentation, only to get to that important meeting or that important presentation and feel that you just did not perform at the standard you expected yourself to perform at. And it's a common issue that faces many people around the world. Now, most people don't really have a solution for this. In academic context, in professional context, they take it as a part of life and just go, look, it's something out of my control. I tried really hard, but I just cracked under the pressure. I thought I was going to do really well, but I got nervous when a client asked me a question. I didn't know how to respond to it. And then the meeting sort of went sideways. Now, we almost accept that we don't have control over the situation, so we don't take an effort to rectify the situation. Let's just compare this to how it happens in any other high performance perspective of the world. So the best example I can give you is elite sports. If we look at elite sports stars, like I said, Novak Djokovic, like Tom Brady, like Cristiano Ronaldo, they don't leave things to chance. And tennis is, I think, one of the greatest examples of this. If we look at what happens in the tennis world, for those who are familiar with it, there's really been 3 players who have dominated the sport for 2 decades. They're not the best technically, because I guarantee the younger players on a given day, if they're performing at their peak, will go head to head with the likes of Djokovic, the likes of Federer. But we don't see them winning when it matters in the Grand Slams. The reason is simply consistency. Like if you reflect in your own life, you might put in the work, you might know all the questions to an exam, you might know exactly what you want to say in a client presentation, you think you have everything ready, but when it comes down to crunch time, we don't perform. And that's what separates the great from the good. That the great perform at their best every single time, day in, day out. They're not leaving it to chance. They've taken out all variance out of that equation. How do we do that? Now, that's where meditation comes in. If you look at any pro athlete today, I guarantee you there will not be a single pro athlete that does not have a sports psychologist, because they realize I might be really good at my game, but at this level that I'm competing at, where I've got the world's best, it's not about what my physical body can do. It's about what's going on in here. And can I pull this out in a crunch moment, in a clutch situation every single time? Or do I remain a mediocre player that sometimes performs and sometimes doesn't? Now, the same way they have sports psychologists and they work on their mental game, these guys are consistently working on their physical game as well. They're working on their physical fitness, so they're ready to perform at that time, and their conditioning can carry them through the game. The life battle that we're going through is a mental game. Whether it be academics, whether it be professional work, you're in a mental competition. Competition doesn't mean a bad thing. Competition is great. It's an opportunity for you to succeed, to find out what you're truly capable of. But you need to realize it is a mental competition. That it's not simply good enough for you to go in and clock in hours and put in time and thinking the time put in is going to lead to a result on the outside. You need to be able to remove that variance that on any given day, in any client meeting, in any exam situation, you're going to be able to replicate those performances to the level that you need it to be. To do that, we need to understand why we don't perform. And the reason for that is typically things like stress, anxiety. That's why people do really well at home. You know, if you're in the mirror and you're practicing a presentation, or you're at home and you're doing a practice exam, you do incredibly, incredibly well. And then you get there in the high pressure situation and anxiety and stress kicks in and you don't. This is where meditation makes the biggest difference. Meditation, mindfulness, whatever you want to call it. What's it about? It's about learning how we control this. For the average person, if I tell you to stop thinking for 5 seconds, most people do the exact opposite and they start thinking. They start thinking about the fact that they're not stopping to think. Very circular. Because we've never flexed this muscle. We've never developed the ability to control that. And that's why we take it as a granted part of life that anxiety is inevitable, that stress is inevitable. And, I did badly today because anxiety came over me, stress came over me, there's nothing I can do. Let's try again another time. And there is something we can do about it. It's the same thing all those pro athletes do. They work on their game. They train their mental state. They work on their mental conditioning. So yes, we're going to always be faced with stresses. And I'm not saying you're not going to face anxiety or stress, but what meditation gives you is the ability to step out and not let it hit you as hard. So there might be a big deal that you're working on, and it might feel like my whole career is riding on this. But by allowing yourself to get out of this negative spiral, you can focus on just doing what you've done for the last 5 days preparing for this, whether it be, as I said, a professional situation or an academic situation. The second aspect is to do with the learning process. So what is the learning process really made up of? It's 3 stages, quite simply. Information needs to go in, information needs to be arranged in your mind, and then information needs to be recalled at a time that you need it. And this doesn't just apply for academic contexts. For example, you're at a networking event and you meet 30 people. You need to be able to remember those 30 names and what they do and what their function is if you want to be able to leverage that at some point down the future. You're in a meeting and a client mentions that they have some business activities in a particular region. Being able to store that, arrange it, might help you in a meeting 3 months from now because you have an answer to a question or you know how you can help your client make more money in a particular situation. But we don't work on that process. We just assume our ability to retain and learn information is what it is. It's what's called a fixed mindset. What we want to have is what's known as a growth mindset. That is the ability to continuously improve and push your potential. And this is once again where mindfulness comes into play. Because those 3 steps of learning process get heavily influenced by what's going on in here. It's quite simple. Memory generally works by association. So when I'm storing in information, and then when I want to recall it, I will go, okay, I think of somebody's name and I want to be able to pull out what organization they work for, what their role is, what was the last interaction we had, and all that information is associated with that person. It's the same thing in an academic context. You think of a formula or you think of a topic and you want to be able to remember a formula. What ends up happening though is as we get busier and busier in our lives and we get more and more stressful, there's 100 things up here. So I'll give you an academic analogy because it's probably the easiest one to make sense of, but people will sit there studying for 3 weeks on a topic. And I've had this happen with a student I've worked with in the past. They get to the exam and they know they've covered everything. And on the day of the exam, when they saw the question they needed to answer, they blanked out. And when I asked them what happened, they told me, I have no idea what happened. Every time I tried to answer the question, this song was playing in my head. And when that really came up, what we realized is this person had spent the last 2 weeks while they're studying for that topic, playing this song on repeat. As a result, they had associated that topic with this song because your mind doesn't know what it's associating. It will associate whatever you give it. Now, that seems like an extreme example, but that's exactly what's happening to each of us in microcosms, where as we get further into our professional careers, you have more stresses. You got deadlines, multiple meetings that you're working towards. You have financial commitments. Most of us will have young families, will have other health issues that you start dealing with, which means that when you're trying to apply your concentration and improve your efficiency on one task, your mind is anywhere but there. Which not only means this task is less efficient, you're actually just wasting that time altogether because the knowledge and that association you want to have, you're not associating the task with the knowledge that you're trying to store. You're associating with these stresses, these other extraneous informations, these distractions that have nothing to do with what you're trying to acquire. This is where meditation.
Nikhil.
Yes.
We will be starting the meditation after 5 minutes.
Sure.
Yes. We need 30 minutes meditation over here. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And this is where the mindfulness changes everything. Because what we are able to do is we take the mindfulness practice and we use it to increase the ability to store and associate the correct information. And it's as simple as this. When you're starting your day, and we often do this in many of the companies that I've worked at, I've taught it to many of my colleagues as well, but just start your day, or before you go into a meeting, take 5 minutes to practice some mindfulness. And what that does is that 5 minutes that you practice meditation makes the next hour, 2 hours, 3 hours that much more productive, because your mind is exactly where you want it to be. In fact, there have been number of studies done by the Harvard Business School on this in particular. It's the easiest thing that you can implement in your day to increase your efficiency. In the interest of time, I'll just briefly wrap up the last point as well, which is it makes an incredible difference to your sleep cycles. So at the end of the day, we all want to be doing as much as we can with our time. I know, because when I was working earlier in my career, I was often starting work at 8 a.m., working through till 4 a.m., 5 days a week, 6 days a week. And it's quite a common thing for many people in quite demanding legal, consulting, or finance jobs. At its peak performance. Once again, mindfulness and meditation. Because we spend so long trying to get into a state of deep sleep that if you say I'm sleeping for 6 hours, you're really not sleeping for 6 hours. What you're doing is you're spending 2 hours trying to fall asleep because you have all this stuff in your mind, or your body's just not falling asleep. And then halfway through sleep, you wake up again, and you're probably getting like 2 hours of real sleep. That's where meditation makes a big difference. The simple, practical thing you can do is, as you're falling asleep, you practice meditation regularly. What it allows you to do is you turn your body into a deep, deep relaxed state, consciously turning off each muscle that's, without you even realizing it, firing and wasting away precious energy. You then clear your head and allow you to forget about whatever stresses are going on. And then if you sink into a state of sleep, you go straight away into that deep state that helps replenish, restore, build back your body, restore your daily energy to keep going. It's a very, very simple thing that you can use meditation with. And it's the combination of those two aspects, in closing, that meditation is helping you reach your peak mental capacity to allow you to reach those goals in your life and help you become more efficient. At the same time, meditation is helping you reach your best physical state to allow you to do the things that you want to do in your life. Now, I could go on this, but I think this is enough to get us started today. And with that, I'll hand it off back to Parinita to walk us through the meditation session for today.
Nikhil, if you can, take us through the meditation session as well, because this program is all about you, and it's you who I know we are all waiting for you to take us through meditation.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah, thank you.
So with that, let's begin our meditation. So as we can see here, there's really 3 steps that we want to be focusing on. Many people here have walked through a meditation session before, but for those who haven't, we'll just guide people right from the top, and then we'll sit into a state of meditation. So the first thing we want to do is help relax our body. And the reason for that is if our body is not relaxed, our mind will never be relaxed. So the first thing is, let's all just take a moment, wherever we are, to sink into our chair. Allow yourself to feel your toes, feel your legs, feel your hands. And let's just slowly guide our mind from the tips of our toes up through our legs, our chest, and finally into our arms and our head. And as we're doing this, we just want to tell ourselves to relax. Tell each part of our body to simply unwind and sink deeper and deeper into the chair. once we've relaxed our mind, it's going to be much easier for us to go into a deep state of mindfulness and meditation. Just take a moment to unwind. We often have a lot of stress and tension in our foreheads, our shoulders. And now that we've found a very comfortable position, let's slowly bring our breath in through our nose into our lungs. We just want to feel and bring our attention to our breath as it flows in through our nose, and then it flows back out again. Flows in through our nose, and then flows back out again. We want nice, calm, natural breathing. Just feel your breath flow in through your nose and feel your breath flowing back out again. Remember, this is a very relaxing, simple exercise. You don't want to force anything. Just allow your body and your breath to be. With each breath in, allow yourself to feel the breath revitalizing you, filling you up with energy. And with each breath out, allow yourself to let go of any fatigue, stress, and anxiety. Just feel the breath going in and feel the breath going back out. Every now and then we might find our mind drifting away. becoming consumed with thoughts. Try not to force those thoughts away if they come. Simply, when you find yourself wandering, just bring your attention back to your breath. And just as you feel a breeze brush past your arm, just feel the air as it flows in through your nose. And just feel the sensation as it flows back out again. We're down to the final 10 minutes. Just keep your attention focused on your breath. Feel the breath flowing in through your nose. Feel the breath flowing back out again. Remember, in this moment, we have nothing else to do. We've given ourselves permission to just be with ourselves. So enjoy this calm, still moment. Allow your breath to help empty your mind. As we come to these final few minutes of our meditation, invite everyone to take our empty minds and direct them to some aspect of your life that you like to express gratitude towards. It could be for your health. It could be for your family, your career, your friends. Just take any aspect that you would like, and let's express some gratitude as we close out this meditation. In the spirit of the topic today, just using meditation to enhance our efficiency and our performance. The one single greatest determinant of our performance in life is how we feel. If we're feeling great, nothing can stop us. If we're feeling down, even the easiest of tasks become a big mountain. Using a combination of meditation to help take away the negative stresses and gratitude as a quick mood booster. Realizing that our life is actually quite wonderful. We'll find the energy and drive to do the things that we'd like to do. With that, as you find yourself ready, just slowly place your hands on your eyes. And as you find yourself comfortable, slowly open your eyes again. Thanks very much, everyone, for joining us today. It's been a lovely session, and I was very happy to share something very close to my heart, as well as guide you through that 30 minutes of meditation. I recommend strongly that you incorporate it as a regular part of your life. I talked earlier today about what the performance benefits are and how you can utilize those throughout your workday, as well as the mornings and the evenings, to help bring out the best potential within you. And over the course of these remaining sessions, over these 21 days, you'll start to hear many different perspectives and other uses of meditation and what it can do for your life. So I thank Baranita for organizing this and introducing not just the content, but the theory in terms of why we can utilize it and why we should make it a lifelong habit to all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nikhil, for such a wonderful presentation and such a wonderful silent meditation. And that was awesome. Most of us, as we are beginning to do meditation, we need the help of music. But as we go by, we need to get adapted to silent meditation, through which we can go into meditation even more deeply. And that is what we have experienced today. And yes, definitely, meditation is going to really improve our overall performance and overall efficiency, and how to live our life, how to make decisions in life, how we can really enhance our performance in all the fields of our life, whether it be in our profession or at home, or just within family or friends or colleagues. About our efficiency, we can become more and more efficient just with the help of meditation. And I urge each and every one of you to please, please, please adopt meditation as a routine, as a daily habit. Do meditate every day, continuously and regularly, my dear friends. So, my dear friends, if you
Definitely.
have any questions to ask Nikhil, or if you have any experience to share with him, please raise your hands and we will unmute you. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Happy to take any questions at all.
Definitely. And while we are waiting for them to ask questions or raise their hands, I would like to ask you, how did your spiritual journey start? Like, what was the beginning of your journey? Like, how did you get into meditation? How did you get into spirituality? What attracted you the most?
It's a really lovely question. I think, as I was mentioning at the start, I've always had a curiosity for wanting to know what is the true potential. Who are we? What is the real limitations of this identity that we identify ourselves with? And even prior to coming into mindfulness and meditation, I was curious at all the different techniques and things across. At the same time, I was very fortunate that my mother, through Pratyuji as well, was actually very fortunate to be exposed to this concept of mindfulness and meditation that we'd actually never come across till that point. And through my mother at that point, I was quite a curious thinker. So usually if somebody tells me to sit down and do this, even at a young age, I would be the type of person to go, why? If you can't explain why, I'm not going to do it. And I was very fortunate that my mother took the time to tell me what little knowledge she had. And with that, I went and researched more about what is this meditation? What could it actually do? And speaking to people, reading books, researching. As I said, I'm a very logical and practical thinker, and I want to know what it's actually doing. And the more I read, the more it helped me actually understand how it can help me become that best version of myself in every aspect of my life. How can I be happier? How can I use my time more efficiently? How can I live a very fulfilling experience? And that's really what has kept it as such a fundamental part of who I am. In fact, I just wanted to add, you mentioned a very beautiful thing before, which is the meditation in silence. And the reason I think that's quite a useful thing to do is we practice meditation in a silo. And often we don't carry that back into our real world. Whereas what we want to be doing is living in a form of meditation. And as we get better and better at doing that, I think silence is not the only way, but a really good way that if you're in a meeting, if you're on the train, you might not have music with you, but you can always find that state of meditation, as you beautifully put it before.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much, Nikhil, for sharing us about your journey. And yes, your mother is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful woman who is doing amazing work, giving her knowledge and sharing her knowledge with everyone. She is an amazing woman. She's an amazing mother. And yes, we all have a lot of work to do to spread this message of joy and freedom and love and meditation and plant-based food.
Definitely.
So thank you so much, Nikhil, for joining us today. It has been really a wonderful session. And my dear friends, with this, we conclude the day 5 of this 21-day Beginners Meditation Challenge for young aspirants. And tomorrow we are going to meet Rose Fultushi, who is going to talk about the importance of full moon meditation, my dear friends. There is a whole new science behind full moon and what happens when we do meditation on a full moon day. We are all excited. I am excited. How about you? So we are all excited to learn about full moon meditation. Come and join us tomorrow to meet Rose Fultushi to learn all about full moon meditation. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all guys tomorrow. Thank you and namaste. Thank you.
Thank you very much.